All right, it's Ivan time, guys. We are on page 188. So we are going to flip back to 187 and before for our mental bookmark, right? And literally, I'm going to flip my book. So let's flip our memory back here from Tuesday, or sorry, whatever day you read this or listened to this. But as I flip back, I see a lot of days and nights, and that's Ivan painting, right? He just took over as that. Inside of him, he's been painting a lot more and painting at night and during the day. So he's painting for Ruby. Then Matt got a hold of it and realized that he might have to sell his paintings too. So now he's has this purpose. He said he's not doesn't want to paint for Mac. He wants to paint for Ruby. Um, Also, we talk about through here. He goes into Ruby is basically taking over Stella's position in the ring. Right, she's doing all the shows. She is being trained, or she's done being trained. Basically, she's the main attraction now again, just like Stella was in the Snickers and the stools and all that, and the pedestals and all that. And she asked, "Do I have to do it?" And you can tell she's not very happy with it. Ivan says she's not looking that good, um, so he's definitely worried about her, right? And his promise was the big promise of his book is he's going to save her. He doesn't know how yet, but he's going to save her. So he's said he's been painting for her. So how's painting going to save her? I don't know, but we're going to find out. And then the last thing, he watched that commercial, right? The ad on TV that came on, and it had a zoo on it. And he called it a wild cage, right? And remember that zoos are not the best place for animals like the wild, but maybe better than where they are now. So after that, he said he knew what he needed to paint. So he saw a commercial and said, "Oh, cool! I know I'm going to paint now." And don't forget the big change for Ivan, right? We talk about character traits and characterization as we move through this book. We've noticed that Ivan's changing, right? He's lately the painting he's starting to remember now. Remember for Ruby, he's starting to remember, and then he's also changing a little bit of his words he's been saying, right? So his domain, his proud, his territory, but he switched that now. What's he call it now? A cage. That's right. So to me, that seems like he's changing, right? Something's going on inside of him that's sparked this new Ivan, right? All right, so let's go ahead and pick up on 188. We're going to read to 208 today. So here we go. Imagining. It's different now when I paint. I'm not painting what I see in front of me, a banana, an apple. I'm painting what I see in my head, things that don't exist, at least not yet. Not tag. Well, that's before I even go to not tag. He's painting things that's in his imagination, right? I can't remember. I don't do things like that. Well, again, another change for him. What's he painting? What's he imagining? Not tag. I pull out not tag stuffing. Carefully I fill her with my paintings, hiding them so Mac won't sell them. She's large, bigger than Bob, but I still had to crumple a few of them. Bob tries to settle down for a nap. You've killed her, he complains. I had to, I say. I miss your stomach, Bob admits. It's so spacious. When Julia arrives, she notices that I've messed up my paints and paper. Wow, Julia shakes her head. You are one serious artist, Ivan. One more thing. My finger painting has sold for $40 with a frame. Mac is happy. He brings me a huge pile of paper and big buckets of paint. Get to work, he says. I paint for Mac during the day and for Ruby at night. I nap when I can. But my nighttime picture isn't quite right. It's big, that's for sure. When I place all the pieces on the floor of my cage side by side, the cement is almost completely covered. But something is still missing. Bob says I'm crazy. There's Ruby, he says, pointing with his nose. There's the zoo. There are other elephants. What's wrong with it? It needs one more thing, I say. Bob groans. You're being a temperamental artist. What could be missing? I stare at the huge expanse of colors and shapes. I don't know how to explain to Bob, but that isn't done yet. I'll just have to wait, I say at last. Something will come to me, and then I'll know my painting is finally ready. Wonder what he needs. What's that picture need? So she did say it has Ruby on it and has a zoo on it. So the 7 o'clock show. During the last show of the day, Ruby seems tired. When she stumbles, Mac reaches for the claw stick. I tense, waiting for her to strike back. Ruby doesn't even flinch. She just keeps plodding along, and after a while, Snickers jumps onto her back. She's not even fighting back anymore. 12. We're on page 194. I lie in my cage with Bob on my stomach. You catch that? We are watching Julia do her homework. She doesn't seem to be enjoying it, I can tell, because she is sighing more than usual. Again, for the 100th time, or maybe the 1,000th time, I wonder what is missing from my painting. And for the 100th time, or maybe the 1,000th time, I don't have an answer. Dad? Julia says as George passes by with the mop. Can I ask you a question? May I? George corrects. Ask away. Julia glances down at the piece of paper. What's the difference between the word spelled Principal and the one spelled excuse me, the one spelled Princeple? The first one is like a head of a school, like Mrs. Garcia. The second one is a belief that helps you know what's right or wrong. He smiles. For example, it's against my principles to do my daughter's homework for her. Julia groans. If I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, why do I need to know how to spell? With a laugh, George heads off. Poor Julia, I think. Gorillas get by just fine without learning how to spell. All those endless letters, those sticks, those circles and zigzags, filling up books and magazines and billboards and candy wrappers. Words. Humans love their words. I leap up. Bob goes flying, straight into my pool. A word. You know how I feel about wet feet, Bob yells. He scrambles out of the water, shaking each foot in dismay. I look out by my window at the billboard. I can still hear Mac's voice in my head. Come to the Exit 8, Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan, mighty silverback. I count to 12 and then I count again. Just to be sure. Whoa, words, huh? I know what I'm thinking right now, for sure. What is missing? Alright, 197. H. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board, 4 down and 4 across. A perfect square. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep? It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity, particularly since I'm not featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not out on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I am homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I study the billboard, and then I make 2 fat lines like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? Thanks to me. What is that? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder? Not a ladder, I say. A letter. At least I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up next to Knot Tag. Why? He asks, yawning. Because then I'll have a word. A very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. That's not so important, he says quietly. Nervous. So why do you want to do home, huh? Hope you're turning your wheels in your head, because I'm thinking, what he wants to paint that word home on there. Mix that with Ruby. Nervous. All day long I knuckle walk circles around my cage. I'm so nervous I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll truly look at my painting. She won't notice the smudges and tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit together. She'll see past all that. Surely Julia will see what I've imagined. I watch Ruby trudge sullenly through the 4 o'clock show, and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What if I can't make Julia understand? But of course, I know the answer. Nothing. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction of the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off of I-95 with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year. Year after year after year. Right? So if he doesn't do anything, what's going to happen? Right? Like you said, nothing. It's going to keep going. Keep going. Like it has been, right? For 27 some years. 20 some years. Showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent except Thelma the McCall, who is practicing a new phrase. Uh-oh. Julia is finishing her homework. George is sweeping outside. Mac has gone home for the night. I grab knot tag and carefully pull out folded papers. So many paintings. Page after page, piece after piece of my giant puzzle. I pound on my glass, and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. It's brown and green, a corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture, and then another, and another, and another, each one a tiny part of the whole. Julia looks confused, but what is it? She asks. She shrugs. Doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think. No, it does matter. More paintings. George calls out to Julia. He's done for the night. Grab your backpack, he says. And hurry, it's late. Gotta go, Ivan, Julia says. Julia doesn't understand. I have to find the right pieces. I dig through the pile. There, here, somewhere. I know they are. I find one, and another, another. I try to hold 4 of them up against the glass. Bob, I say, help me, hurry. Bob grabs paintings with his teeth and drags them to me. One by one, I shove pictures through the window crack. They crumple and tear. There are too many pieces. My puzzle's too big. Carefully. Careful, Ivan, Julia says. This might be worth millions someday. You never know. She arranges the paintings into a neat stack. I suppose Mac's going to want to sell these at the gift shop. She still doesn't understand. I shove more out of the hole and more, all of them, one after another. So Ivan's been painting a lot, hasn't he? George says as he puts on his coat. A lot, Julius with a laugh. A whole lot. You're not taking any of this home with you, are you? George asks. I mean, no offense, Ivan, but they're just blobs. Julia thumbs through the towering stack of paintings. They might not be blobs to Ivan. Let's leave those in the office, George suggests. Mac will want to sell them. Although why anyone pay $40 for a finger painting a 2-year-old could do, I don't know. I like Ivan's work, Julia says. He puts his feelings into them. He puts his hair into them, George says. Julia waves goodbye. Night, Ivan. Night, Bob. I press my nose against the glass and watch her walk away. All of my work, all of my planning, wasted. I look at Ruby, sleeping soundly, and suddenly, I know she'll never leave the Big Top Mall. She'll be here forever, like Stella. I can't let Ruby be another one and only. Just like him, right? Chest beating. Often when visitors come to see me, they beat their chest and hands against their puny chest, pretending to be me. They pound away, soundless as the wet wings of a new butterfly. The chest beating of a mad gorilla is not something you ever want to hear, not even if you're wearing earplugs. Not even if you're 3 miles away wearing earplugs. A real chest beat sends the whole jungle running, as if the sky has broken open, as if men with guns are near. Angry. Thump. The sound, my sound, echoes through the mall. George and Julia spin around. Julia drops her backpack. George drops his keys. The pile of pictures goes flying. Dump, dump, dump. I bounce off the walls. I screech, I bellow. I beat and beat and beat my chest. Bob hides under Not Tag, his paws over his ears. I am angry. At last, I have someone to protect. There he is. Ivan's getting angry. Finally, I said it. That sound, right? He says 3 miles away you can hear a chest beat. Imagine being standing right there and hearing him. My question for you is, who does he have to protect now? Right? Ruby. Yeah. So, a lot of stuff going down right now. We're stopping right there. All right? We will pick up next time.